As you enter the first room, dragon eggs will be scattered around the entire room. There will also be two platforms on the left and right. Razorgore will be on the right, the Orb of Command on the left. Your raid will deal with Rethok and the two adds, while the main tank and one other person will alternate using the Orb of Command. The orb lets you mind control Razorgore, forcing him to destroy eggs and sleep other dragonkin. Just as a note, if you are the mind controller, don't use Fireball Volley. It will cause too much aggro, and you need Razorgore to stay alive during phase 1. The rest of the raid will split into 4 groups at the designated corners, burning down all adds that spawn. The kill order of the adds will be mages, then dragonkin, then legionnaires. Remember, the objective is to mainly just kill mages, and don't forget to interrupt them. As a few side notes, legionnaires can be mind controlled and used to damage the dragonkin because of their damage buff towards dragons. And the dragonkin can be sleeped by druids and Razorgore. Once the last egg is destroyed, your raid will have to stop all damage and kite and crowd control the last of the remaining adds. They will run out of the room, so don't worry about killing them. Make sure to have your main tank the last person to use the orb, as Razorgore will attack the last person to use the orb. The main tank must take Razorgore and face him away from the raid while everyone else is behind him. Another tank should be ready to taunt off when the main tank becomes CC'd. Other than that, the fight becomes a tank and spank. After Razorgore, move to the next gate to reach the next boss, Veilstraws. Veilstraws has some recurring abilities, so you want to position accordingly. The main tank should be on the north, by the throne, while the off tank should be on the side, ready to take over, while the rest of the raid is on the other. Veilstraws is like the Baron Gen fight, where whoever gets burning adrenaline must move away from the raid to the designated area to die. If a tank gets burning adrenaline, secondary tanks must be ready to take over. There is a riskier way that just ignores burning adrenaline, however, just know that there is a despawn for 24 hours after 1 hour of attempts. Other than that, threat will be the most important thing. Try not to overtake your tanks.
Yeah, boy.
Continue up the stairs to where you will encounter some trash mobs. Don't underestimate these, as they do have a crazy knockback charge. Next is the suppression rooms. There will be tower-like traps that give debuffs to nearby players. Depending on if the trap still requires a rogue to disarm them or not, a designated player will disarm these while the raid moves to the sides of the room via this path. There will also be nests and small corners along the way as sort of checkpoints. Trash mobs will compose of whelps, taskmasters, and hatchers. Taskmasters need to be crowd controlled so they don't heal each other. Hatchers have a stacking debuff and must be taken down quickly. And whelps, well, whelps are just whelps. Broodlord Lasher will be at the end of the suppression room. He has some knockback, so you'll want to tank him in the corner. The rest of your raid will be standing by the gate or against the wall behind Broodlord Lasher. Next are these goblins that drop hourglass sand, and the Draconids have a random debuff that make them vulnerable to one school of magic, while reducing damage taken by others. There's no way to tell besides just communicating to your raid, so be on the lookout. Firemaul is the next boss you will encounter. He patrols up and down the ramps. The positioning is a bit weird, but I found this to help explain it. The fight basically takes place at the entrance where you killed Broodlord Lashlayer. The idea of the positioning is basically to line of sight his flame buffet when the stacks get too high. Everyone should try to remove the stacks at around 7 stacks, otherwise you'll start to take massive fire damage. The rest of Firemaul's abilities compose of frontal cone attacks, which shouldn't be too hard to deal with. Ebonrock and Flamegore are the next two bosses located on the highest level. Ebonrock shares Wing Buffet and Shadow Flame with the previous boss, Firemaul. However, his unique ability is Shadow of Ebonrock. It's a debuff that heals Ebonrock for 25,000 each hit, which can't be dispelled. The strategy is to have 3 tanks set up in a corner next to each other, kinda like a triangle. Whenever the main tank gets Shadow of Ebonrock on him, the other 2 tanks will taunt the boss off of the main tank. The reason there are 2 tanks is just in case that one taunt gets resisted. There should be a warrior dedicated to keeping Mortal Strike up on the boss at all times. Flamegore is an easy fight where hunters just have to keep tranquilizing his berserks. Fire Nova can't be line of sighted according to Wowwiki, so just proceed as if fighting Magmadar. Chromagus is the second to last boss of the raid. He has 5 different breaths, however he can only use 2 different ones per week. Along with his breaths are 5 afflictions. If a player requires all 5 afflictions, the fight will end in a wipe. So it is imperative to make sure debuffs are dispelled. Both mages and paladins can remove the afflictions by ice blocking and bubbling. The hourglass sand that dropped from the previous goblins can also be used to remove the bronze affliction, so make sure you loot the goblins. There are some mechanics that Chromagus has which are present in the previous fights, so beware of the frenzy that can be tranquilized shot and the Draconin magic vulnerabilities. Nefarian is the last boss of Blackwing Lair.
These nuts.
Nefarian's first phase has Draconins appearing from the tunnels on the east side, as well as random mind controls going throughout the raid. The raid will respond by splitting into 2 groups with 2 tanks per side. Each Draconin has a corresponding color with specific abilities and resistances. Depending on the color combinations, kill order can vary. Generally it's going to be blue greater than black, greater than red, greater than green, greater than bronze. Red, green, and bronze can be AoE'd down. Nefarian will land after killing 42 Draconids. Before landing, he casts Shadow Flame, so make sure you have your Onyxia Cloak. The fight will generally be like any other dragon boss, with a few extra abilities and mechanics. Class callouts will force players to do specific actions. When Nefarian reaches 20% HP, all Draconids will resurrect. The raid should prepare to AoE them down. Paladins should use Holy Wrath, and others should use Strathel Water. The remainder of the fight is the same, and you just need to burn down the boss. If you have any questions or if I missed anything, be sure to leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.